Hey, badass business owners, should you lower your prices to match your competition? Well, the vast majority of the time, the answer is probably going to be no. And in this video, we're going to walk through why you should not be in a race to the bottom when it comes to pricing. All right, whether you have a service or a product, this is going to work for you. Let's just say that you price your service at, say, $75, but your competitor comes along and says, nope, I'm going to lower it to $60. What do? Should you stay at your 75 or should you move down towards the new 60 price? Well, let's take a look at this. Here's the thing. You got to ask yourself some questions. So let's ask ourselves these questions. One, why are they even lowering their price? Are they lowering it because they're in need, because they just want to try to undercut you? They're new to the market. There's so many different questions and reasons why they might be lowering it. And you need to try to find out, why are they doing that? You also need to find out, are they going to change the quality of the products they use? Do they use inferior products compared to you? What are your costs, your expenses? And do you even have to lower it? These are the questions you want to ask yourself. So let's take a closer look at each of them. Why are they lowering their prices? More than likely, they might be trying to chase someone else, or they've looked at your pricing and they've said, nope, I need to steal their business. And the only way I can do that is I can offer it for a lower price. So most of the time when someone's lowering their price, they haven't figured out what their value is, or they're lacking and hurting on business. So they figure that the only way they can compete with you is to lower their price. So you want to make sure you really understand the motivation, as I mentioned earlier, as to why they're doing it. Now, the quality of the products are going to be important, because if you're using a far better product in what it is that you do, then of course your price should be more, because your costs are going to be higher. Sometimes people will lower their price, but they'll cut some corners. They take some things out because they know the only way they can make money is to do it cheaper. And that's typically what happens. So you need to find out before you lower your price, how are they addressing this particular situation? Now, your cost of goods and your expenses might also vary differently compared to the other person. So for example, this happens in landscaping all the time. If it's just a one-person band mowing some yards, yeah, they can do it cheaper because they don't have an entire team. A landscaper has maybe 3 or 4 people on their payroll. Now their expenses are going to be higher, which therefore they have to charge more to do it. And this becomes a big issue, for example, in any of these businesses where you have a solo person going out against a team. So you need to ask yourself, this competition, are they somebody that is going to have a lot lower costs than you? So therefore they can trim the fat, because more than likely when you started, you had low prices as well. But as you grew and your expenses grew, so did your prices. Now, the big question is, do you even have to? And this is where I want to spend some time. And I need you to learn how to check the numbers. So before you go lowering your price, even after you've gotten the answers to those other questions, you need to run the numbers. So let's take a look at what that might be. Let's just say you have a carpet cleaning business and your current price is $75 and your costs are going to be about 35%. That's what your costs typically run you in your business, and that includes the payroll to do the service. If you've been following along on the channel, you know I'm a big proponent of you making sure that you capture your labor correctly, and your cost in this job is running you about $26.25. Well, we know price minus cost minus expenses equals our profit, so we got to make sure we put in some money set aside for our expenses. And if our expense line typically runs about 25%, then we know we need to set aside an additional $18.75 out of this service, because it's going to be sucked up and spent on expenses. And since, once again, sales minus costs minus expenses equals your profit, that leaves 40% or $30 for the profits for the business. Not necessarily you, but for the business's profits. So now the question becomes, what about when you use the new pricing? So let's take a look at what that looks like. So now you've lowered your price to their $60. And what happens to you? Well, your costs are going to cost the same no matter what to do that job, right? It's the same labor hours and it's going to be the same costs for any products that you use as well. But here's the thing. That 35% is no longer true, because we're using a base of $60 for our sales. So we have to take the $26 divided by the 60, and we find out that our cost of goods went from 35% jumps to an huge 43.75%. Because our cost of goods are the same, that percentage has to go up. And guess what? It's going to impact our expenses as well, because at the end of the day, we're still going to have the same expenses from a dollar standpoint. And because we have fewer sales, guess what? That 25%, that also will change. And your expenses will jump to a whopping 31.25%. And when that happens, we know our profit's also going to take a hit because we're basing it off of the $60. So the $60 minus the $26.25 and the $18.75, guess what? This goes away as well. And now you're at $15 profit, and that's 25%. So your profits went from 40% all the way down to 25% because we lowered our prices to match somebody else's. Now, I want you to really continue to run the numbers, so that's what we're going to do, because now you have a big decision to make. Let's just say that making the price change is going to take you from 10 jobs a week, and all of a sudden, because of the lower prices, you're going to be able to jump to 15 jobs a week. Does that make it worth this price change? Well, let's take a look. You definitely are going to have more sales. I don't know why that is there, but you're going to have more sales. But you're also going to have more hours that you work because you have more jobs to do, right? So you're going to work more hours. We already know that we now have 15 jobs times the $15. That's going to come to $225. Or we'll say a 4-week month, that's $900 a month that you're going to make with this 15 jobs. The question becomes, does that make sense for you? Because you're going to pick up more jobs. So the good thing is you've made more sales. Well, let's take a look at what it would look if you only kept your same 10 jobs at the $75 that you were doing. You're going to have less sales, but you're going to have the same number of hours, right? Nothing's going to change by leaving your price the way that it is. Now you've got 10 jobs at $30 a profit each. That comes to $300 a week in profit and $1,200 for the month. That's $300 more. By not lowering your prices, you're making more money. So the question becomes, why on earth would you even lower your price? It doesn't make sense for you to lower it mathematically. By you lowering your prices, you're going to make less money. But I know what you're saying. I can already hear it. Well, Tammy, if I don't lower my prices and he lowers his prices, I'm going to lose some jobs. Well, you might. So let's just say you lose 2 jobs. Okay. You go from 10 down to 18. What's the impact on that? Well, you're going to have loss of sales. Absolutely. Okay. It's because now we're going to have 8 jobs at the same $30 because we're still charging our $75. We got the 8 times the 30, which is going to come out to $240 or $960 a month. Guess what? You still make more money than you would if you were to drop it down to $60 and gain 15 jobs. So you can either do 15 jobs and make $220 a week, or you can do 8 jobs and make $240 a week, which is more money. Doing less jobs, less hours, you can go out and you can have more time to be able to create more sales at your price point. Can you see how you need to run the numbers and how a big impact that makes? The biggest lesson you can learn out of all of this is you need to run the numbers before you ever lower your price. This is not a race to the bottom, okay? It is all about asking yourself if it's worth you changing your price, lowering your price if your competitor lowers their price. The other lesson learned is people will pay for service and quality. Do not get hung up on the $60 they want to run down to if you're at $75. Do not change your prices just because your competitors do. You need to focus on the product that you sell, the quality of what you sell, and the service that you sell, and people will pay more money for it. And even if you lose a sale here or there because you didn't lower your price, you're still going to make more money in most cases than you would have if you were to lower your price. And that's the biggest takeaway that you need to do. Now, if you want to learn more about how to price your products and your services correctly, check out these 2 videos that we have on the channel, and they will help walk you through that as well. I'll put some links down below for you. And if you like what you see, don't forget to hit subscribe, smash that like button, and this way you don't miss any of the videos and other people know this is a video they've got to see. And if you want to learn more about your business numbers, don't forget to check out the Know Your Business Numbers course where we walk through on helping you learn your business numbers better. Now get out there and become the badass that I know you are.